Hey, what's up? Welcome to Accounting is Business with Albert the CPA. Today, we're going to talk about the accounting puzzle. And if you want to know more about what that means, tune in. Let's get into the intro. So the accounting puzzle, what does this guy mean by the accounting puzzle? Okay, first, before we get into that, let me go ahead and get some, what do we call these, Lauren? Our announcements, or what is it, the church announcements out of the way. I'm an accounting nerd. I use notes. There will be breaks in eye contact. And when you see me do that, just act like you know who you're talking to. I'm an accounting nerd. I use my notes. All right, so now into the video. What I mean by the accounting puzzle is basically the different areas of accounting and how they fit together like a puzzle. A lot of times in the small business world specifically, you see a lot of businesses with bits and pieces, like pieces of the puzzle, but they don't have the full function put together. So in this video, I want to tell you guys how to put it together. All right, so diving into the different areas, I always have to start with the foundation, the step one. And dare I say, maybe the most important part of the accounting puzzle. If you guessed bookkeeping, you're right. Now, bookkeeping isn't the glamorous, it isn't the high paying, it isn't the superstar of accounting, but it's definitely the most important piece of accounting for the simple reason that everything else in accounting is based on accurate bookkeeping. A good bookkeeper allows a good accountant who allows a good CFO to do a great job. So if you're wondering what bookkeeping is, let me go back a little bit. Bookkeeping is where you categorize, where you organize, where you reconcile, where you do all of those basic accounting tasks that allow for the higher level stuff to function. Once the bookkeeping functions are done, so you have your categorizations, you have them reconciled, we're ready to go to the next step. That's where the accountants step in. The accounting level is what I like to call the bridge between, bookkeeping and management level services or functions or whatever you want to call it. Accounting is where people come in and they do the review of the bookkeeping. They do some light analysis to make sure that things are making sense. They're looking at accounts. They're doing all of the things that, bridge the gap between the admin, categorize, organize, blah, 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 and the high level strategy. So again, this is probably where most accounting careers span. This is where you have your staff accountants, your senior accountants, some of your accounting management, lower level, blah, blah, blah. This is where most of the accounting work is done, in that middle, like everything else in life, just kind of stuck in the middle there. So once the bookkeeping and accounting work is done, you get into your leadership, your managerial pieces. So this is where you take that step back and you get into big picture thinking. So we're talking insights, we're talking strategy, we're talking about making decisions, we're talking about data-driven decisions. So if you kind of see a theme here, I'll go ahead and tell you my methodology on building any function. You're going to have what's called admin review strategy. So that's what I'm describing here. You have bookkeeping, which is your admin function. You have accounting, which is your review function. And then you have your strategy, which is your leadership function. Now, this is high level management. This is CFO. This is the person that the CEO talks to about what they want to see happen. This is the person that takes that to the team, oversees the team, and ensures that everything that this accounting function is doing is right in line with the big picture goals. Another piece that I don't want to miss, those are the three levels. So we've gone through the three levels, but a lot of you guys may be wondering, all right, so where do taxes fit in? Like, I know about taxes. That's what everybody knows about. That's what we all have to pay. So where does taxes fit in? The tax process is similar to bookkeeping. It starts with the tax preparers. These are the people who are entering the info, making sure that the schedules and whatnot are completed accurately, blah, blah, blah. And after they've entered the stuff, you're going to have that review level. After that review level, hopefully the review level, or typically the review level is the last level where you can go ahead and get the taxes submitted. Sometimes there are multiple reviews. But again, we're thinking admin, review, and then you get into strategy. The strategy piece is what happens outside of tax filing season. So this is how the millionaires pay less in taxes than, a lot of the workers, the employees and that sort of thing. So strategy is what allows you to strategically do things that lower your tax liability. So again, I'm going to just beat a dead horse on this. You have your admin, you have your review, you have your strategy. So moving along, we're going to get into our Ask Albert the CPA question for the week, and it is, what's the best place to start with accounting as a small business owner? Do we know who that's from? We need to make a note of who these things are from. If it's from you, I'm sorry. But we will answer your question. So what's the best place to start with accounting as a small business owner? I'm going to simplify this. You want to start with bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is what keeps everything organized. Bookkeeping is what allows you to see your income, your expenses, just to see the stuff. So before any strategy or insights or anything of that nature can come into fruition or come into the equation, you have to start with solid bookkeeping. Now, bookkeeping isn't the end goal, but everything starts there. So if you can only pick one of these things, I'm going to say get your bookkeeping in order, and the higher level stuff can always come in on the back end. Does that make sense? You agree, Lauren? Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right. So for the last segment, we're just going to get into some conversation. I like to call this the fun, step back, relax segment. We don't have a name for it yet, but it's just not like, it's not so tips and tricky. It's just conversation. Since we're kind of at the beginning of this YouTube channel and we are starting to build, I want to start by talking about the most important thing that we've learned as business owners, people who are growing businesses, is the mindset work. So here we're talking about a function. We're talking about the accounting puzzle. We're talking about how to put these things together. But the main thing to develop is that mindset around it. We're really just doing what makes sense. So you have to develop a strong sense of discernment. You have to be able to kind of decipher what's real, what's fake. You have to develop a strong sense of common. No, nothing on that one. Common sense. Because all we're doing here is, or let me break it down this way. This is why it makes sense. So if you have a function, right, or if you're trying to accomplish something, it only makes sense to have one person doing it, one person reviewing it just to catch anything that person might have did, or potentially multiple people reviewing. That's typically how it works in the firms. But you want someone doing it, you want someone reviewing it for accuracy, making sure that they didn't miss anything, and then you want somebody overseeing the whole thing to ensure that the whole big picture thing is working. So this is the same concept here. That's going to be the concept that I'm going to suggest for building out any function in business: marketing, accounting, operations. You want to have your admin level, you want to have your review level, and then you want to have your leadership level, if I could talk. And I mean, that's it. It just makes sense. That's why we do it. That's why we run it Right Choice this way. So is that it, Lauren? We got anything else? Beautiful. So always remember, accounting isn't boring. Accountants may be boring, but accounting is business.